Campers, if anybody lost your swipe card, okay, it was broken, so it would have probably fallen right off your lanyard.
Hey guys, happy Wednesday. I hope we're feeling good. I hope we're feeling excited and hopefully not too sore from yesterday's mountain run.
Yeah, crazy. I think you guys have the hardest day in the books right now. And with that, you got to be riding a little bit of a high, feeling good coming off the workout. But what's even more important than that is recovery, Rachel.
Recovery.
You have to recover, and that is one of the most slept on parts of running, one of the most important parts of the game itself. And Rachel, what would you say are the most key parts of recovery that are going to get you the next session, next run feeling good?
Rehydrate. Absolutely. Hydration, refuel. That means eating properly, eating enough, and sleep. Sleep and stretching, which they all sound pretty basic, and you might think we knew that, but it matters how you're doing all those things, I would say.
I agree. I think it's those things you're like, I'm going to do it anyway because I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, whatever. Do it more.
You got to be
have
deliberate
more.
about
You
it.
got to be deliberate. You have to make sure you have a bottle of water and a bottle of electrolytes.
Bring it to a workout,
Yeah.
to a hard run. Don't wait till you get home.
Exactly.
Have it with you.
Have a protein bar ready because, there's windows where you're supposed to get these, certain things in. Protein's a big one. Rachel, I think
Yes.
you have a fact about that.
I do. I mean, personally, I am very adamant about quick protein consumption, especially females. You need to be getting in some protein after a workout within 30 minutes. Bring a protein bar. I love a smoothie. I'm always making a smoothie for a workout. Bring that and get it in.
Yeah. And I think coupled with that is the way your body absorbs it. And one of the best ways is while you're sleeping. I think it's so important to, really try to get 9-10 hours of sleep.
Yes.
I know, I felt this way in high school. Once I, crushed my big workout for the week, I'd feel accomplished. I'd feel like all that work is done. And now I can kind of relax a little bit, slack off a little bit. But really, you need a good night's sleep to really let this fitness settle and feel like you're really getting to the next one, because running is a game of consistency. Day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year even.
Yes. I like to think of it as half of the work is done. You do a big workout, you're halfway there. You're cooling down, you're still halfway there. You have to get rehydrated, refueled, and sleep. And then you've actually completed the workout. Otherwise, it doesn't count. You're not getting those gains.
Anyone can run, guys. Not everyone has the discipline to take it to the next level and do all the little things. Get some vitamin C. Go up to Dave Davis, ask him for an orange slice, and tell him I need this for my recovery. And these are just little important things that are going to take you a little bit farther than your competitors.
And you're going to feel better. You're going to feel much better the next day. I promise you're not going to be as sore as you guys probably feel today. You're going to feel better.
Exactly.
Better.
Yeah. And especially in the heat of Virginia summer, you're not going to want to mess around. Drink up. Try to have, 16, 20 ounces of water. Same thing with electrolytes. Go guzzle a Gatorade right now. Just enjoy it. You have these things at your disposal. Make use of them. This can be a huge training week, but it can also put you in the hole for the future if you're not recovering correctly. So with all that said and done, I think you guys have the tools to take it to the next level. Have fun, enjoy your friends, but make sure you're taking care of these very important things, as we do every day. We never miss a day.
Nope.
Never.
It's part of the job.
Never, ever, ever. Okay. Well, you know what? Wednesday's going to be awesome. Thursday's going to be even better, guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Enjoy.
tell me, give me a couple. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's good. Okay, good. You know how to do it. Hold up. Don't go any farther. Can you do that? That's it. My hand out.
While they're doing that, quick reminder, team challenge this afternoon, 1:15. We're going to meet on the steps at Lehman. Wear your camp t-shirt. Everybody needs to have their camp t-shirt on for the camp picture. So we're going to meet on the steps there. We'll do that, and then we will get into our challenge. After the challenge is dorm cleanup. Take the chance. Get rid of the trash. Make it look nice. And don't forget to post your pictures for Waikiki Wednesday.
Good morning. I've got the privilege and honor of introducing our morning speaker. Dr. Jaime Kurtz is a professor of psychology at James Madison University. I worked with her several years ago when she came into the class that I was teaching, training first-time marathoners, and she did a study with them. Also went to the marathon and ran it with us, and she is an experienced marathoner, and I'll let her explain what all she's been doing. But our speaker this morning, Dr. Jaime Kurtz.
Hey everyone, how you doing? How's the energy? Good, good, all right. I've been following your Instagram, so I see all the cool things that you've been doing, including running up a mountain yesterday. Yeah, no big deal, just ran up a mountain. So I'm happy to be here to share some kind of mental strategies for you for managing your running, not just your running like in your season, but hopefully maintaining a love of running long term. So yes, 4 quick tricks to manage your stress and maintain your love of running. So just a minute about who am I, why am I here? So I'm a professor of psychology down the road at JMU, and when I'm in my semester, I'm teaching classes on happiness, on stress management, on well-being, and I like to apply that to life and to running as well. So I'm also a runner. I've done 14 marathons. I'm currently training for the Marine Corps Marathon, which is in DC in late October. Done other stuff too, like triathlons and whatnot. I did not love running until I was really in my mid to late 20s. I did a lot of sports in high school, tennis, softball, swimming, but running was not something I really thought of as something I wanted to do as a standalone, and came to it later when I was feeling really stressed out in life and just needed to get outside, to feel free, to move, and really kind of fell in love with it a little bit later. So. And now I love it, and it's a huge part of my life. So I would call myself a late bloomer. So from my perspective, and I am not a coach, but I am someone who wants to see people live a rich, happy, connected life. These are my goals for you. So I do want you to push yourselves, to challenge yourselves within the limits that your coaches advise and so forth, but also have fun. Right? If you're not ever having fun doing this, I would feel sad about that. So challenge yourself, but also enjoy yourself. Also, cultivate resilience in the face of all those setbacks and challenges that you face when you do hard things. You're going to do hard things, you're going to probably feel frustrated, you're going to feel disappointed, right? How do you bounce back from those setbacks and challenges in a way that is making you want to get back out there, as opposed to feeling kind of like I want to quit, right? How do you stay up? Because you're all going to face some kind of setback if you haven't already, and that's just part of it. And then also, don't just get through this season or your high school running career or maybe your college running career, but maintain a love of running for life, because it's something you can always have with you. It's one of my favorite ways, like when I'm traveling to see a new place. It's a great escape when you feel stressed out in life or just have a couple of hours to kill and want to do something good for yourself. Running is just a tool that you can always have with you. So I would love it if you could maintain a positive, lifelong relationship with this sport. So those are kind of broad things, but I'm going to give you 4 concrete strategies. I'm not going to get into this, but these all have like a lot of research behind them that they're pretty effective. So you might think, is there some way I could work this into my life? And we'll have some time for questions and things at the end too. Okay, so my first one is playing with this idea that when you feel keyed up in your body, it's very easy to call it anxiety, right? So you feel like maybe your heart racing, your palms sweating, you feel just kind of jittery, and you might say, oh gosh, I'm really stressed, I'm really nervous, I'm really anxious. But there's actually a lot of research to show that the feeling of excitement is really like that too, keyed up in your body, right? So say you are standing up at the line before a meet, or you have something happening at the end of the day that you're kind of thinking about, and you feel that in your body. Could you try to tell yourself, oh, I guess I'm just really excited about this? That kind of mindset is much more motivating. When you tell yourself, I'm anxious, it might just be a little debilitating, crippling. So you can, we call this arousal in psychology, like when your body is just sort of in this heightened state. So if it's negative, you call it anxiety, but could you flip it and call it excitement? So here's how you might put this to use. Well, you can tell me. So you're sitting in school, watching the clock, knowing you have a very important meet after school. So the school day is winding down, and you feel yourself getting more and more nervous, right? Your heart's racing, your palms are sweating, maybe you feel like kind of queasy, you feel overwhelmed. And the more nervous you feel, the more you catch yourself telling yourself, I can't do this. This nervous feeling is one of like, I can't do this. So is there a way to get out of this mindset to use all these feelings for good, if that makes sense? So you're sitting there, you feel your heart racing. What else could it mean? You're excited, right? Like you've been working toward this. Here it is. Here's your chance. All this practice is like coming to something now. So could you practice telling yourself, oh, I guess this means I'm pumped? Because when you go to the starting line, don't you want to feel a little bit of that? You don't want to feel like, oh, I could just take a nap right now. I'm so calm. No, you want to feel like ready to go. That's why you listen to certain kinds of music. It's why you cheer each other on. You want to create that feeling. Well, it's right there for you. Just call it, try to call it that. Give it a go. Seriously. Okay, this one is huge. I tell my college students about this idea, and I think it's really, really helpful. So we people in our culture, tend to think that when we screw up, the best way to overcome that is to be kind of hard on ourselves, right? You screwed up, you jerk, you're the worst. And that is actually really bad. It feels bad. It doesn't lead to a good outcome. And you just can ask yourself, would I ever say this to a friend or a teammate? Let's say a teammate ran a race, they were disappointed. Would you say, yeah, you were the worst. You're terrible. The answer is no. Don't do that. No, you would say, you know what, everybody has a bad day. Or like, what else would you say to a teammate who had a bad race? There's always the next one. Love that. Anything else? Yeah. Everyone has a bad day, right? It's part of being a human. Anything else? Very true. It'll make you want to run harder the next time. So whatever thing you might say to your teammate or friend, practice saying that to yourself. Could you do it? Some people cannot do this. They think it's too, what? Like you're being too easy on yourself? You're being too soft on yourself? How are you ever going to be excellent when you are kind to yourself? But there's all this research actually to show that this idea of self-compassion is going to get you back out there. It's going to motivate you. It's going to, keep you up. So practice being a friend to yourself. That doesn't mean you don't want to have standards. It doesn't mean you don't want to push yourself or challenge yourself. But part of being a human is accepting that nobody is perfect. Everyone's going to have a bad day. Sometimes those bad days come when you don't want them to, like on race day, but that's just part of it. So practice self-compassion, not just for sports, but for life, right? We're all going to screw up every now and then. It's just part of it. Okay, so people who are self-compassionate, meaning they are kind to themselves, tend to be happier people. So I would love for you to all be happy people. Practice self-compassion. They feel less stressed. There's less pressure on you, right? If you will allow yourself to not be perfect. So you don't carry that anxiety around with you quite so much. And also more resilient. So you're better able to bounce back from setbacks, from challenges. I think we would all do better with a little self-compassion. So here's a scenario. Let's talk through what you might do. You have an important race, the one you really were working hard toward and cared so much about, and sadly, it just didn't go well. Didn't go well at all. So afterwards, you're thinking about it. You're sitting with it, trying to make sense of what happened, and what kind of things do you say to yourself as you think through it? Just don't worry about self-compassion right now. Just what might be some of those initial thoughts that you might have as you're processing this disappointment? I didn't push myself hard enough. Yeah, it's really easy to tell yourself that. I didn't go out hard enough. Yeah, still had something left in the tank. Anything else? I didn't PR. Yeah. I should have trained harder. Lots of shoulds, right? Shoulds don't always feel so good. Shoulds make you feel guilty or ashamed even. And some people, no one is saying this, which I'm happy about, but you might say, I'm just no good at this. I'm bad. I'm the worst. And where is that going to get you? That doesn't get you anywhere good. That just makes you feel even worse. So let's say that you are practicing self-compassion and trying to process this in a way that is kind. What might you say to yourself as you're making sense of this? Yeah. Today wasn't my day. That's okay. Yeah, I love that. You can say, I learned something from it, and you can even go deeper with that. Like, what did I learn from this? What might I do differently next time? It's disappointing, and you're allowed to feel that way, but it's also a learning opportunity. No one can expect to go out there right away and just do it perfectly, so what can you take from this? What can you learn from this without being so mean to yourself? So you can still acknowledge that this wasn't great, but you can do it in a way that is going to make you feel empowered, that's going to make you feel motivated, as opposed to feeling just like, I'm terrible. So that doesn't motivate you at all. It just makes you feel like quitting, and who wants that? And if all else fails, just ask yourself, what would I say to my teammate right now? And try to get that voice in your head, and that can get you far. So self-compassion, I love it. Okay, mindfulness. So when you were out running in some of these beautiful roads we have around here this week, you didn't have your phones or your music, right? Where did your head go? What were you thinking about? Mm-hmm. You tried to, I'm sorry. Tried to make yourself enjoy the pain? Okay, just hearing. You have songs stuck in your head? I always do too, even if I don't have any in my ears. There's always something. What else? Counting steps. Okay. I'm collecting tips for myself too, just to be clear. Enjoy the scenery. Hey. Yes, we'll come back to that one. Just letting your thoughts kind of go. Yeah, just let your thoughts go. See what comes in, see what comes out. It can be kind of meditative for some people. Okay, yeah. And breaking it down, right? When's the next half mile? So maybe breaking it down into smaller little goals. You focus on your steps and the breathing. Yeah, your breathing is a wonderful way to ground yourself. And one more. Stop thinking about it. Oh, a topic for every mile. I love that. Yeah, once I was doing a marathon and it was really, really awful out. It was raining and cold, and I told myself I was going to dedicate each mile to a person in my life until my brain got too tired and I couldn't think about even that. But that was good for a while. Anyway, so you're out there, it's just you and nature and the workings of your mind. This is a great time to practice mindfulness. So, mindfulness is a huge topic in psychology. Mindfulness can help you ground yourself in your body, in your breath, and when you're outside and you have nature around you, the sights, the sounds, the smells, all of it, all fair game to just take a moment, take it in. This is one reason why running is so good for our mental health. It gives you that pause, right? All you have to do is move your body through space and your mind can just go. So what can you think about? So let's see. You're feeling overwhelmed by everything that's going on in your life, especially once school starts, the season starts. You have classes, you have relationships, maybe things like finances, and of course athletics, and the future, and all these things, and they can just be absolutely overwhelming for everybody. But then you get to go out and run. So how could you use your daily run, long run maybe, to practice mindfulness and allow yourself to feel more calm and balanced? What would this look like? So just relax. That helps. Yeah, sometimes it's a nice break, right? Yeah, I'm gonna forget about all my other worries and just think about what my body's experiencing, maybe even if it hurts a little bit. It's still taking a break from all the other things. Yep, be in the moment. Just feel the air, feel what your body's experiencing. Just the act of moving can be lovely. Yeah, it is. You can forget about everything else, and it's such a nice, like you're doing something healthy and productive, but it's also like a pause on everything. So you have this as runners. You have this thing that not everybody has. You have this opportunity every day or however often you run to just hit the brakes on all this other stuff. And as you're speeding up the brakes, in your body, brake on everything else. So use that opportunity because it will absolutely help you. A few other things you might do. If you don't have your music with you, which can be really nice sometimes to not have your music with you, just look around. What do you hear if you're in nature? Tuning into the sounds, tuning into just the experience of breathing in and out. If you ever run on trails, it can be really meditative to like just be looking down and be looking at the green, and that can be really relaxing. So mindfulness in running. And then this is a huge one. How do you know how you're doing? How do you assess your performance? You are here, you're all high-achieving people. I assume you want to do well, right? So how do you know if you're doing well? One thing a lot of us do, myself included, is we look around at what everybody else is doing. And we call this social comparison. We all do that. It's a natural human tendency. So how does it feel when you compare yourself to other people? It can kill, thank you, kills your joy for the sport. Yeah, all right. It can be stressful. Why is it stressful? I have a theory about why it's stressful. Because you can't control what other people are doing, right? There's nothing you can do about it. You can only control what you do, but you're giving up a lot of that control when you're looking at what everyone else is doing. Someone else? Blue? So you like it to some extent. Yeah, so it's like a double-edged sword, right? Social comparison can be motivating, especially when you identify your competition, you see what they're doing, and you beat them. But again, you can't always control that. So it can be motivating, but it can also be anxiety-producing. So we have to manage it well. Disheartening, great word. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, so when you're comparing yourself to what other people are doing and it's an easy day, that can be a real problem because your easy day should really be easy. And when you just want to push yourself a little bit more on those easy days to keep up, guess what can happen? Injury, right? Or just getting exhausted when that's not what you're going for, right? So social comparison can also affect your training. And sometimes for good, sometimes for not good. It can make you feel guilty for what you're not doing or when you're not working out. Yeah. How many of you are on Strava? Okay, like half. Yeah, so Strava is another one of those things, right? You can see what everyone else is doing. Some people will be doing less. Some people will be doing more, probably always. And there can always be that, yeah, like, wow, my friend's doing doubles. I'm not doing doubles, should I be? And then you lose track of what you should be doing, and it can be bad. So Strava, good and bad about it, for sure. Is anyone else like inspired by kind of social comparison? Like you follow people on Instagram or TikTok or something and they like actually fire you up? Yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, that can be good, but we're all on our journey with social media. Some of you, does anyone not use social media at all? Nice. Nice. Yeah, so you might be better able to dial into your own goals, into what your body is doing. But some of you are going to probably not be that person. So how do you manage it? How do you look at other people and feel inspired by them, but not feel like debilitated by them? Have you developed any tricks? I need some help. Yes. So remember your goals? Yes. So look at what other people are doing, I guess, if it helps in some way or you're interested, but always keep your goal in mind. And you can lose track of that. So what is your goal? Doesn't matter so much about what other people are doing. What do you want? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so choose your comparison points appropriately, right? So like if you run these numbers are so fast, they don't even mean anything to me. If you run 4:33, don't necessarily try to chase the 4:11 guy, but maybe there's a 4:30 guy or something. Something? Yes, you'll get him eventually. Don't chase him yet. Take your time. Mm-hmm. The race is hard enough. Yeah, running, what you guys are doing is hard, right? So why make it harder by looking at what everyone else is doing? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Yes, right. So choose, slow progress, right? So maybe don't chase that person who's way, way, way ahead of you, but maybe somebody who's just a little bit ahead of you. And that can be inspiring instead of just like overwhelming, I'll never get there. And then something we were talking about earlier is sometimes, as we all know, right, social media just gives you a snapshot of people's lives. You don't see the whole story, the whole big picture. And I think it can be really helpful to learn, like, those athletes that you admire, what setbacks have they had? You know, what hurdles have they had to clear? What disappointments have they had? And realizing, like, everyone struggles, everyone has setbacks. And you might see somebody out there crushing it on every workout, but they're really not, probably, if you know their whole story. So either maybe consider what they have dealt with, or if there's like you can read about their career a little bit. I think that can be really helpful in terms of understanding what people have grappled with and how they got to where they are. And it's probably been a process. It was not overnight. So I love this story about social comparison. This is a story, this is based in some research that some psychologists did on Olympic athletes. So I believe this was it was the Rio Olympics, whenever that was. And they were really, these psychologists were really skilled at coding or like reading people's facial expressions for various emotions: happiness, pride, disappointment, anger, fear, all these facial expressions, right? So they got the footage of the athletes after they found out where they placed in competition, so either first, second, or third, or lower. And immediately when they found out, so imagine if you're watching a track event, when they cross the line and they see, oh, I got first, I got second, I got third. Immediate reaction. And then also when they were on the medal stand, they had a little bit of time to process their experience. And so what they found is that when people found out they won the gold medal in the Olympics, they are the best in the world, they were pretty darn happy, right, by every measure. They were smiling, they were jumping around, happiness, pride, all of these feelings. So this was the gold medal winner in gymnastics this year. She has a subdued smile, but she definitely looks happy. And then they also looked at bronze medal winners, and those people are pretty happy too, because they're thinking, I almost didn't get a medal at all. So they're comparing themselves to the people who are a little slower than they were, and they were like, phew, just snuck in there. The interesting ones were the people who won silver. This woman won the silver in gymnastics, and she does not look very happy. She looks pretty disappointed or annoyed or something. And they found this general pattern for silver medal winners. They looked really not super happy a lot of the time. But if you think about it, they're like second best in the world at what they do. There's like 7 billion people on the planet, and they're number 2. But guess what they're thinking about in that moment? They're not the best. There's one person better than them. And so a lot of silver medal winners actually look pretty disappointed when they found out they got second. And of course, it makes sense. So close to first. But it's also really interesting, right? Like, you can be second best in the world at something and still not seem that happy because of social comparison. It can really rob you of enjoyment. So anyway, that's just a really, I think, good example about how powerful social comparison is. So think about, what do you want? What are your goals? What does improvement mean to you? And how does it fit into the rest of your life? And really try your best to like focus on that. And try your best, especially if it makes you feel bad, to not focus so much on what everyone else is doing. That's my advice. So put it to use. You've been having a great season, running your best times ever, yay. But in your upcoming meet, you'll be running against the 2-time county champion in your event. Whew, okay. So how can you protect yourself from being disappointed? And you can be a little disappointed, but like not overwhelmingly disappointed if you don't beat them. Okay, so you can tell yourself some kind of story like that. Like, they're the 2-time champion for some good reason. They're going to be a tough competitor, so they're going to be hard to beat. You can still get ice cream afterwards. I mean, that's, yes. But also, like, you make a good broader point, like life, there's still a whole rich world of life out there. Ice cream, nice warm bed, your family and friends, like, you know, try to take that spotlight off of this one thing a little bit. And get the ice cream, for sure. There's always water at the end if you're feeling tired, dehydrated, or yeah, whatever version of that. Like, you know, I can do this for 5 more minutes, or I can do this for 1 more mile, and just kind of those things we tell ourselves, because they say, you know, your brain gets tired before your body. So keeping your brain, you know, your brain wants to stop before your body. Put it that way. The faster you go, the faster you'll be done. I just told myself that the other day, and it's true. As long as you tried your best. Exactly. I mean, that's the way to not focus so much on what other people are doing, right? It's like, I set this goal for myself and maybe have a time goal in mind beforehand. And it's like, well, how did you do relative to that? How did you feel? Did you feel like you were leaving it all out there? And again, you cannot control what this other person is going to do. So, but yeah, I do think social comparison is a really big problem, and if it plagues you, you're definitely not alone. And it's always going to be there, because there's always going to be other people who are better somewhere, right? Even in the Olympics, if you're second in the world, there's that one person who's better. And if you are beaten by this person, is there a way you can feel like inspired by them instead of defeated? Yeah. Good, yeah, go shake their hand, say good job, great sportsmanship. Yeah, what are they doing? You know, is anything that they're doing, would that map onto you and your training? Okay, talk to your coach, but once you know what they're doing in practice, can you do a little more than that, if that's appropriate? Stalk them on Strava, okay. again, like see what they're doing, and if what they're doing is not for you, or doesn't make you feel good, or could even lead to injury, well, we don't want that, but we want inspiration. Use it as motivation. Yeah, you know, if you ever have won a race, it feels great. I can't say that because I've never won a race, but I would imagine it feels great. But it's not exactly going to light a fire under you, because now you've done it. So coming in second actually could really light a fire under you. That can be a wonderful thing long term. Okay, very good. All great advice. I'm taking notes in my head with your advice, so thank you. Okay, so another thing I want to mention is pulling yourself out of a slump, right? You have long seasons, you probably get tired, you're also balancing school and who knows what else. So you might have those days when you're just like not feeling it. And that's part of being human, self-compassion. Remember, be nice to yourself. We all have those days. So here are some things that you might do, and then I'm going to see if you have any other things to add to the list. I always try to remind myself that there's going to be a day that maybe you can't do this because of an injury or whatever reason. So just being grateful that you can get out there and run can sometimes be nice. If you have, I hate to say this, but if you have friends who are injured, think about them, and like it can make you feel grateful that you're able to do it, because we all, take our turns with injury. So there's that phrase, someday you won't be able to do this, today is not that day. It might work in that moment. I've also found that supporting others can be a really great way to get out of a slump, right? So when you're feeling that lack of motivation, often you're just so much in your own head and very self-focused, right? So that can be a nice time to like pull yourself out of your head. How can I support my teammates today? How can I, be that positive? Today might not be my best practice. How can I like help pump other people up? Also, if you volunteer at local races, that can be a great thing to do. So I've recently shifted from, I still run, but I'm also a race director, and Charlottesville Women's 4-miler, sorry, I see your shirt, is this women's race in Charlottesville, and it's a lot of women's first race, and it's like super empowering to like see them cross the finish line for the first time or something. So if you could, in whatever capacity, like volunteer at a local race and like cheer for people, give out water, and see how everyone's pushing themselves and coming together, that can be, that's not something you can do like in the moment, but if you plan to, just get out on a weekend and help out. And then as you get older on your team, being that mentor for the younger runners, being that positive person for them, especially when they're frustrated, need some inspiration, that can also, of course it's going to help them, but it can also make you feel really good too. So all little ways to just maintain that love of the sport. And then, gotta say, the social media, I fall prey to it too, for sure, but I always ask myself, which accounts inspire me? And a lot of the pro runners accounts inspire me because I'm like so far away from ever being that person that it's like very abstract. But I also have some friends who they run a lot of miles, way more miles a week than my body can handle. And I have to not really follow them so much because it makes me push myself to the point of injury, and I've had to like not follow them. So like, who makes you feel good, but who makes you feel not so good, and strategize. How does Strava help your training? How does it hurt your training? Personal question, but that's one we can all ask, and certainly ask yourself how social comparison is weighing into that. We already talked about that. Change it up. If you just run the same little circle route every day, that might get kind of boring. If that's what your team is doing, of course, you're going to do that. But like on your own, is there somewhere new you can explore? Or maybe if you're safe to do so, listening to something new, different time of day, running with new people. I don't know if you ever noticed this, but I find it's like really easy to talk to people when you're running, maybe because you're not looking at them right in the face and like you're distracted. It's just so easy to have conversations, unless you're going too hard or really hard, and then, but on an easy day, it can be a great way to just chat, miles go by. If you're comfortable leaving the watch behind, that can help with the mindfulness, right? So you're just paying attention to what your body's doing, not so much what the watch is telling you, right? Be a body who's moving through space, not clocking everything so much. When you're not in the midst of your season and you have a little more flexibility, is there something you could try to mix it up a little bit? Maybe running on some hills, which you will do here, obviously, but could you run on trails? What about something like an obstacle race or a triathlon, or, who knows? So different ways to keep the sport fresh and exciting can be good. And always just come back to basics, right? So are you rested? Are you taking care of your diet? Are you hydrating? Are you stretching? Are you doing all those things? If you're feeling just drained or in a slump, you can always consult those really basic things that sometimes we don't think about that much. So what else? How else do you pull yourself up when you're just like not feeling it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's your why, as Des Linden says, right? Remember your reason for doing it. What's the big picture? Take a day off to do a different activity. Maybe you just are tired. Maybe it's that simple. Maybe you do need a day off. Mm-hmm. Ooh, I love that. Think about your younger self and when you were starting your running journey, and maybe like the progress you've made, the things you've learned, how you've grown. Sometimes you don't see that day to day because the progress takes a while, but when you really rewind and look back over time, you can maybe see it, when you were a freshman or whenever you started running. How are you different now? I love that. Mm-hmm. If you don't put in the work, someone else will. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that can be that little boost of motivation, and everyone's going to respond maybe differently to these different kinds of mental strategies, right? Another one I tell myself is like, just do a mile or a half mile, and then usually once you get going, then you feel better and you want to keep going, and you always feel better at the end compared to where you started 99% of the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cross training, what do you like to do for cross training? Swimming, yep. Mm-hmm. Elliptical, whatever you like. Mm-hmm. Spend a really long time hyping yourself up. Sure. Or, if you have music that hypes you up, I think that can also be good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If that's a good use of Strava, you can see what you were doing a year ago, or you can just scroll back and see the progress you've made. Mm-hmm. What? All right. I don't know what you said, but everyone else did. What? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Tell me later. Explain it to me later. Other ideas? Okay, what other questions do you have for like a psychologist who runs and studies happiness? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what's something you can do when you are not close to being done yet, but you're tired and you're slowing down? And how do you find that energy again? Gosh, it's a hard one. I mean, sometimes it is just you're in a bad mental space, right? So I would, well, I run with music if I'm in a marathon, so I'll try to find a song that's like really gonna get me going. I just try to like, I try to break it down, like just get to that next water stop or get to that fire hydrant, or there's one person, see if you can pass that one person. Just anything to get out of that mental space, because it can, especially as you are getting tired, like it can get really hard to pull yourself out of that. So just any kind of distraction, any small motivation, and maybe don't think about the finish. Maybe the finish is still too far away. Just think about the next quarter mile, or relative to the distance that you're racing. Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes I just embrace the boredom. It's like, well, okay. Or sometimes I'll think about the things I don't want to do when I get home. I'll be like, when you get home, you have to like study or like read this thing, so that'll make me just glad I don't have to do it. Sometimes I'll put on a podcast. I have some 20-mile runs coming up, and there's going to be a lot of that. So like a podcast, and just it'll pass. Just kind of knowing with time and experience, just knowing that it passes. But yeah, it can get a little monotonous. Or just like checking in with your body. Mm-hmm. I saw you next.
What is your marathon?
3:24. So that's like 7:40s or something. It's not that long ago. It's like 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. How do you deal with burnout? Well, I think burnout can come from if you're not loving it at the moment, right? So if you, like we were talking earlier, if you like love what you're doing, you probably won't get burnout. You might get tired and need a rest because your body has limitations, but you might not get that like, blah, I can't do this. So I would examine like what's not working for me right now. And it might be running, it might be something else going on in your life. It might be school, it might be relationships, but like identifying what is causing you to feel this way and why, and how do you address that? But I think if you can't answer that why question, like you're really stuck. So you might just be like doing the same thing over and over. It's getting monotonous. You might be frustrated. You might be doing too many things. And you might ask yourself, like, what can I scale back from? Maybe I'm doing too many other clubs, or, depends on the person. But like trying to figure out the source, I think, is a good start. Race visualization in my mind. Yeah. Like for marathons, I often do like logistics, like just like how early do I have to be there? What time do I want to line up? Like what stuff do I need? Do I have it all? All of those things. And it helps. The race itself, yeah, like I'll think about mile 20 or, whenever you start to get really tired and like, what's that going to feel like? What am I going to do when that hits? Because it's going to. And then when it hits, you kind of can tell yourself, yeah, you knew this was coming. Nothing's wrong. This is just the way it is. And that it does help to just think ahead a little bit, even though you can't predict everything, of course. But over here, anything over here? Challenges you're facing, things you're struggling with. If I don't have the answer, maybe somebody else will. Mm-hmm. Oh, mantras do I tell myself with running? Like, I really do try to run. This isn't a saying so much, but I definitely try to run with gratitude. And I'm 47, so like I try to think about, who knows how long you're going to be able to do this the way you're doing it right now, and that just kind of makes me feel grateful. And I do think about the why. Why am I doing this? Sometimes I don't really have an answer, but sometimes it's like because it's going to make the rest of your day better. It's going to make you better for the people in your life. It's going to keep you feeling good long term. But in terms of like a particular saying or phrase, I don't. Does anyone have like a mantra or something that they repeat in their head? One, two, three, four. So counting, keep going. Strong is fast. Strong and fast. Thank you. Strong and fast. Any others? I am speed. Nice. Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. Break my Break My Stride. Yeah, it could be a lyric from a song, too. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. That one, yeah. I won't sing. Yes. Remind yourself of the hard workouts that you've done that have prepared you for the race. Yeah, think of all the work that it took to get you there. Actually, sometimes I tell myself like the race is the celebration. Like everything else was the hard work to get here, and now you're here, and like now it's the party. Doesn't always feel like a party, but like this is what you came for. This is what you worked for. So I try to remind myself of that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's great. Yeah, check in with your body. Just check in with your form, with your arms, with your breath, with your steps. Just go back to basics. Love that. Great tips. I'm going to remember some of these for sure. Any other questions, thoughts, parting words of wisdom? Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the catastrophizing we talked about earlier. Yeah. So when something small happens, a sunburn, a little strain, something, and it's very easy to blow it out of proportion. It's the end of the world. This is the end of my season. How do you grapple with that? That is hard because many injuries do start with a little bit of a pain, and many of them are nothing. So, and you don't want to make it worse by running through it. But, you might first check in with your body. Like, if your body is freaking out, that's going to make it all worse. So if you are in that headspace of like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world because this, that, or the other thing, you might need to take a beat, take a moment to calm your body, go out for a walk, or just take 20 minutes away from it, and then come back with a calmer headspace. That can sometimes help. And I think just talk to somebody you trust. The more you spin it in your own head, the bigger and bigger and bigger it can get. So go to your coach, go to a teammate you trust, or somebody with some expertise, and talk to them about it. And I think that can get you pretty far. But don't let it live in your own head, just running wild. That's no good. So, social support. I'm jealous that many of you have teams and you have one another to rely on and get inspiration from. So enjoy being on a team, man. It's one of the best things about high school and college, that support. Okay. Well, thank you all for your questions, your attention. I love coming here. It's really fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck. Oh, good luck.
Thank
with your
you, Dr.
system.
Kurtz. That was wonderful. Gave us some useful information. We always say running is, 70, 80% mental, and how you deal with it can help your success and well-being. So thank you for that very useful information. Thanks again. All right. Well, we're going to go over to get you on to the rest of today. All right. Today we have a busier afternoon, okay? I know it's all in the packet, but we're going to go over here really quick. Lunch is next at 12. Then from 1:30 to 3 is team challenge. 3:30 to 4:15 is dorm cleanup. So expect all the trash in your room to go out. If you've noticed in your trash cans, you have an extra bag. If you take the one there out, there's another one in it. So just take the trash bag out to the dumpster by your dorm and throw that away this afternoon. And then we come back in here at 4:30 for mini sessions, and dinner is at 6. Okay? Matt, anything else? All right, I think we're good. We'll see you at lunch. Thank you.